Today I want to talk about closure and accountability. Have you ever been in a relationship where things went bad, it ended, normally abruptly, and you simply wanted closure? Like nothing made sense. So you simply wanted to have some kind of closure, some kind of conversation where you can tie up the loose ends, close the door, and move forward with your life. And yet the person outright refuses to give that to you. And when it comes to accountability, have you ever had a relationship end where everything was construed in such a strange way that it made it seem like everything was your fault? Everything that you felt happened that hurt you is denied, and it's all on your shoulders and all blame is on you. And this could be with a significant other, a friend, or a family member. If you answered yes to either of these questions, then you're going to want to watch this video. Okay, I'm going to talk about why it's important to get closure, why people refuse to give it to you, and what can happen to you if you don't get it, if you wind up staying stuck, craving it, and having that craving never being met. Okay, so with that in mind, let's get started. My name is Michele. I'm a life and relationship coach. I'm also the founder of the Thriver School of Transformation, which is a monthly membership where we meet live weekly on Zoom. And we talk about everything that I talk about on my channel, but we do it in person and we do it in ways that help us to heal and move forward. So if you think that's something that could be helpful for you, make sure you check out the links in the description box below. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that getting closure, wanting closure, and accountability is normal. And I want to stress this because if you're dealing with a toxic person, somebody that might be high on the scale of malignant narcissism, they're going to make you feel like you're being a bad person for even wanting this. They're going to want to make you feel like you're too sensitive, like you love to cause problems, like you're just doing this for attention, or any negative reason they're going to imply with the fact that all you really want is to have a sense of closure and have everyone take accountability for whatever was theirs. Wanting closure is healthy because basically what you want to do, the purpose or the goal of somebody that wants closure is they want to tie up any loose ends, any emotional loose ends. They want to be able to kind of have everything in place, have everything said that they need to say, as well as having the other person say what they need to say as well. It helps a person to feel like there's no unfinished emotional business left to take care of. Okay, so they can close that door and easily move forward in their life. So if anyone tried to make you feel like you were crazy for wanting closure, understand that it is completely normal and healthy. Okay, so let's talk about why a person would refuse to give it to you. And there's several reasons why they would do this, especially if they're high on the scale of malignant narcissism. So we usually need closure or want closure with relationships that meant something to us. Regardless of how it ended, the reality is that your feelings were real and the relationship mattered to you. The person mattered to you at one time, and you hoped to feel like you had mattered to them at one time as well. And so when a person gives closure, you're honoring the fact that that person mattered to you at one time, despite the fact that it's ending, despite that you're going to be going different ways. There's not a denial of the fact that at one time the relationship mattered. And that's exactly why any malignant narcissist or anyone high on that scale would refuse to give you closure. That would mean that they are allowing you to feel as if you mattered, as if you meant something to them at one time. And sadly, in the mind of a malignant narcissist, if they say you mattered, they feel like the scale tips and it causes them to feel less than. The second reason why they refuse to give closure has to do with something I said at the beginning of the video, and that's that closure helps you to close the door to the past, right? So that you can move forward into a relationship present in the present without the past kind of trespassing into the next relationship. Okay, and again, that's exactly why they refuse to give you closure. A malignant narcissist will love to move on. They will love to flaunt their new supply in your face, right? But they don't want you to move on. Not because they want you to be with them, but you moving on would mean that they didn't really matter. They weren't that important, especially since they know that if you find a healthy person and you work on yourself and you get healthier, right? Because everyone after a relationship with a malignant narcissist has to do a lot of inner work to get healthy again. They know that you'll be happy. They know that you have the potential to be really, really happy with yourself and in another relationship. They don't want that because that's something that they really can't have. Happiness is something that they imitate and mimic and mirror, but it's really not something that they feel from within. Knowing that you can have that and they can't will make them want to do anything and everything to make sure that that doesn't happen. And what happens is it makes it hard to close that door. And that has to do with the third reason why they refuse to give you closure. And it has to do with the fact that it leaves you in a negative emotional state. Okay, it leaves you hanging emotionally. It leaves you unsettled within. It leaves you frustrated, annoyed, confused as to why they wouldn't do that. And they love when you're in that emotional state. So think about a child, right? A toddler. The toddler is not getting any attention from its parent. So what does a toddler do when they're not getting any attention from their parent? Well, they'll often misbehave, which will bring about negative attention. But guess what? To a toddler, negative attention is still attention, and it's preferable to nothing at all. Well, that's what happens with a malignant narcissist. They don't want to give you closure because that negative attention allows them to feel as if they're still so important that you're unable to move on in life. You're unable to feel happy and content because of them. And sadly, in a very weird, sick, and twisted way, that makes them feel better about themselves. Number 4, if there's no closure, then the door is still open and they can come and go as they please. In other words, they can reel you in again with love bombing and spit you out again with the discard over and over when you're still hoping for a closure that's never coming. I get a lot of clients that tell me, but Michele, if they really don't want to be with me, why don't they just leave? Well, a healthy person would just leave, right? But somebody that just wants to suck the life out of somebody, they love the fact that they can come and go, hurt you, cause you to hate them, and then leave you, reel you back in despite all that hate that you had. They can cause your walls to fall down again just so that they could do it over and over again. Somebody twisted and that is an emotional predator loves that. So no, they're not going to handle it normally and in a healthy way and give you that closure if they can do that. So because their lack of closure causes you to be in a negative emotional state, right? You do not feel good towards them. You're frustrated. You're feeling all of these emotions that don't feel good. They love that because it causes you to come across as the one that was the problem. In other words, with mutual friends, they will talk to friends, right, and kind of set you up. So for example, they might say things like, I'm hoping nothing but the best for her. We both talked, it ended well, and I hope nothing but the best for him or her. And, I'm happy. I just wish he or she would be happy and, kind of let it go. I don't understand why they're so why they're still hanging on. Which, of course, all of that is twisting the reality, right? So when that friend goes to the person and says that that's what they're saying, what's going to happen? The victim of the malignant narcissist is going to get frustrated, going to get upset, going to get angry, and that's exactly what the narcissist planted in the mind of that person. How angry they are, how upset, meanwhile how happy they are. And it causes people to side with the malignant narcissist. Not that you are looking for sides, okay? You're not the one wanting to have anyone take a side, but the truth is they always are. And I have seen in my coaching practice, I have seen so many people have their parent take the side of the malignant narcissist. Now, I will say that normally the only parent that does that is a narcissistic parent, right? And they wind up siding with the ex, the malignant narcissist, against their own child, and together they emotionally abuse that child. I've seen that. I've seen malignant narcissists turn friends, if they have friends in common, friends against the person. So that's something that they love to do because it just gives them more supply. It is a tremendous amount of power that they feel when they can cause your family members and your friends to believe them, especially because they know it's a lie. So to know that they can convince people to believe their lies instead of your truth causes a tremendous amount of, sadly and sickly, narcissistic supply. It causes cognitive dissonance, okay? Because part of you is thinking, well, you know, this relationship mattered, so why can't we just have a normal discussion and let it go? And yet you're seeing their actions, and what they're basically acting like is that the relationship didn't matter. And so your brain is having a hard time putting things together. It doesn't make sense. Their behavior doesn't make sense. It's not in harmony with how you would expect a healthy relationship to go. And the reality is that it's not a healthy relationship, but some people don't realize it at that time, right? So it causes cognitive dissonance. And when your brain is in a state of confusion, it can't move forward. It gets stuck. I have seen people in this state have that cognitive dissonance, and they'll tell me things like, Michele, like, I want this relationship to be over, but because I can't get this closure, I feel like I can't move on. And they stay stuck in this middle ground of you're not with the person, but you're not able to move on either. And that's exactly what a malignant narcissist would want. And when it comes to accountability, this is very simple. When it comes to accountability, this could be a significant other, it could be a family member, it could be a friend, right? They will never admit to ever hurting you. They will never admit to you having, undergone anything. They will rewrite the past. They will literally rewrite the past and repeat it so convincingly just to avoid giving you that accountability. And the reason they do that is because obviously being accountable means that you see yourself, you see your mistakes, and you can own them. And you want to change and be a better person. So if they're high on the scale of malignant narcissism, they don't want to do any of that. They don't want to see themselves. They don't ever want to look at their mistakes. They only want to look at yours. Another reason they don't want to give you accountability is because they want to be the victim. They want people to look at them as if poor you, what you went through, they're the bad person. So to admit to people, not only just to you, but to make it known who is really causing all the problems or who also is causing the problems, I'll say, because it's never just one person. But to never own that allows them to look like they're the victim. Okay, that's their goal anyway. So I wanted to give you guys the reasons because I'm hoping that by understanding their way of thinking, you'll let go of seeking something that they refuse to give you. It's almost like, a bully that's like holding another kid's head and they're holding like their lunch money or their lunch just out of reach, and they refuse, no matter how hard that smaller person is and they're trying to reach, they just can't, right? Well, that's kind of what the narcissist does with accountability and closure. They want you to keep striving and striving and striving, and they are going to continue to hold it just out of your reach. But if you understand the reasons why, you'll start to realize that it has nothing to do with you, in the sense that it's not because you don't matter. It's not because it was all your fault. It's because of their twisted need for narcissistic supply and everything that they do to ensure that they get it. And that leads me into what happens to you if you get stuck waiting. If you constantly stare at the fact that this person has never apologized, that this person has never admitted to you what's happened, that this person lies to other people about what went on, and also if you stare at what was lost, okay, and I know this is a hard one because the truth is, if you were in a relationship with a person like that, you lost a lot. It could be financial loss. It could be emotional loss in the sense that you probably lost yourself, right? You probably lost friendships, close friendships through isolation. You could have lost family members, children, and even jobs. Okay, you lost a lot. But if we stare at that and we're waiting for the closure and we're continually looking at that, you'll lose not only what you already lost, but you'll lose your present and your future. And what I mean by that is time. Time is one of our most valuable assets, right? We can't buy more of it. We can't store it for when we need it. Once it's gone, we never get it back again. And so if we stay stuck, waiting for something that people refuse to give, you can lose the opportunity to recreate yourself, recreate your life, to heal, and to move on and create the life that you really want. I know people that were stuck for years, some for decades, okay? And a lot of the reason is because this information wasn't out 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or wasn't as common to be able to hear and learn about this. So myself and so many other channels like mine, part of the reason we put this information out there is to stop that, so that you don't continue to suffer because of individuals like this. So I hope this information helped, and always remember, if you're having a hard time doing it alone, please check out the Thriver School of Transformation. Like I said, we meet live weekly on Zoom. We have monthly themes that help do the inner work on the healing journey. We have group coaching. We're starting EFT and breathwork sessions, and it's just all designed to help you on your healing journey. So if you're struggling on your own, make sure you check out the resources that are available